Folks, I'm Josh McGee from the STLFC Soccer Show, and I'm here today with another episode of the St. Louis FC Spotlight. Joining me today is the longest tenured player in STLFC history, center back Sam Fink. Sam, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get into what's going on right now. Obviously, you guys are preparing for Louisville, big game with playoff implications, and, of course, a rivalry game this weekend. But you guys are going into it with a little bit of fine form right now. You're in the midst of a 4-game unbeaten streak, and you guys have been able to score 2 or more goals in 3 of those matches. From your point of view, what's working right now? What's clicking with you guys?
Yeah, I think we're all finding our individual form, which is allowing us as a collective to obviously go and do big things. I think the biggest thing for me right now is we are very calm and confident on the ball, playing through pressure, playing around pressure, and then obviously our big timers up top and through the midfield are doing their job and making our life easy too. So it's kind of all firing on all cylinders right now.
Let's look a little bit about your expertise on the defensive side. I know, speaking with you in the past, you always have high expectations of yourself, and the club have high expectations of themselves. Right now on defense, your guys' last clean sheet was against Indy 11 on July 26th. For right now, it seems, though, watching your guys' past few matches, you guys played very well for the majority of those matches. It's just 1 or 2 instances where you guys either get burned or the structure breaks down. Talk to me about your assessment right now of the defense and what you guys have been working on to clean up that side of it.
Yeah, I think you said it. I think it's just it's 88, 89 minutes of good, solid defensive work, and it's just 1 or 2 letdowns that's killing us. I think the good news in that is it's totally in our control to go out and get more shutouts moving forward, but a little bit frustrating that we're letting ourselves down a little bit. I think we've been unlucky in some moments as well. Maybe a call or 2 not going our way, or the ball bouncing the only way that we didn't want it to. But in the same token, you don't want to make any excuses, and you want to put it all on your shoulders. So we definitely have some room to improve there.
And it's been important that you guys have been able to turn it around and pick up points these last few matches, because I know you guys knew going into the restart that this group with the 3 other teams involved would be tough. But as of currently right now, going into the weekend, the top 3 teams separated by 4 points, and Sporting KC have been a tough out as well. Talk to me a little bit about this group, and from a tactical or from a skill standpoint, what has made it so tough?
Yeah, I think for my money, I think that this is probably the toughest group in the league. You've got the consistent, always good Louisville. They know exactly who they're going to be year in and year out, and they've won a lot of games. So no matter how their form is, they're always going to be a tough opponent. And then you've got Indy, who just has a lethal attack. They've got some players there that can do it all on their own, can change a game in an instant. So that one always is tough as well. And then Sporting is similar to Louisville in that you just know exactly what you're going to get. Like they've been the exact same since I've played them, since I came into the league, since they were Swope to Sporting 2 to everything. And just having that collective kind of culture and playing style year in and year out. The guys know exactly what their roles are. It makes it tough to play against. So they're a little bit younger and lack experience, but I think they make up for it in their collective style. So all 3 teams super difficult to play against and get results against. So yeah, like you said, we knew it was going to be tough going in.
Let's move away a little bit from the direct on the field issues and talk a little bit about the stuff that you guys have had to deal with in this season. Obviously, there are a bunch of issues that we'll get into in a little bit here, but the first one being the pandemic. Coming off of the restart now, we're a couple months into it. At this point in the season, obviously there's a lot going on and playoff implications and tough matches. But at this point in the season, has it gotten pretty standard, pretty normal, following the protocols and having to deal with everything the pandemic has caused?
Yeah, so in the beginning, the protocols were tough to not really follow, but just remember. There's just so many of them. And fair play to the league. They've done everything, thought every instance out to make sure that we are as safe as possible in resuming the season. But yeah, it's been we've gotten into a little bit of a rhythm with it, showing up with just like in the U10 soccer days, bringing your own clothes, your own water, all that good stuff. And of course, the mask gets a little bit more comfortable each week that you have to wear it as well. So protocols were a little bit weird at first, but now that we've had a few weeks of it under our belt, it's kind of normal rhythm at this point.
Well, it's good to hear that it's gotten normalized now, because I'm sure, as you said in the beginning, it was going to be difficult. And the decision even to come back, I'm sure, was quite difficult. I wanted to get your perspective on this, because you're one of the few guys on the club that can have this perspective. As a parent, having to come back and, leave your family, and you have all these different protocols and safety measures, it's, very risky in a sense of what the club and what the league were trying to do. Talk about that process of, having to, step away from your family and have to follow these tough protocols, how you were able to deal with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, something that is not thought of a lot. But being a dad myself, and Kyle and Wall, like, the decision to come back and play and be around other people at a time like this doesn't just affect ourselves. It affects our family. It affects the light of our lives and our kids. And, so from my perspective, as we started to, for a while there, we had no idea. Like, there was no date in place. There was no idea how we were even going to do this. And in that time, I was skeptical. I was healthily skeptical, I would say, asking as many questions as I could, grilling, our front office, our coaching staff, and then also, trying to get the union to grow the league on ironing out these protocols, to just be as safe as possible. Because like you said, I mean, this game is so important to so many of us, and playing it for as long as I can remember, it's a huge part of me. But when you have kids, your perspective changes a little bit and your priorities realign. And the health and safety of my family is my absolute number one priority. And so if I didn't feel like the league was doing enough to protect us, then I wouldn't have played. But as I said earlier, they really did do a lot to make sure that we would do this safely and be okay. So super appreciative of them for that, so that we can have the best of both worlds and being safe and also playing the game we all love.
So then you go from the pandemic and having to go through that, and then, of course, what is currently going on in our country, which is with the protests, the incidents of racial injustice that people, again, are reacting to, and how the sports world has been reacting to and trying to set up a message. It's been great to see some of the guys from the club have a chance to speak out, write some articles for STLFC.com. But it's been interesting talking to you and also talking to Kyle and hearing your guys' thoughts about supporting your teammates, being there for them, and not necessarily taking the lead on this issue, kind of catering again to their needs and what they think is the best way. As a former captain and as, a veteran on the team, talk to me a little bit about that dynamic of, I'm not sure, I don't have all the answers here, I'm not in the leadership position, but how can I still find a way to help out with these guys?
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, I am very privileged to lead the life that I do and lead the life that I grew up living. And so a lot of these issues that are going on, I just have no way of experiencing them myself, and I didn't. And so my first initial reaction was, look, no matter how you feel about this issue, any of these issues, empathy has to be number one. You have to go into it trying to understand all involved, and try to understand why their hearts are hurting and why yours should too. And after doing that, just hearing some of these guys talk about the hurt that they were experiencing, for me, I had no choice but to love them and to serve them and to say that, hey, man, I'm here for you no matter what you need from me. And whatever you feel like this team needs to do to, send a unified message, I'm going to do that. I'm here for you. So yeah, it was interesting not taking the lead on that, because I really had no place in doing so. Just taking a back seat, but at the same time, making sure all voices were heard and making sure that whatever message we did send as a club would be unified and supported throughout the locker room.
So there's no playbook to this, right? In terms of, sending message. Again, you guys are just professional athletes. It's not like this is your guys' main role is to fix these issues. And we've seen, though, that the USL has been able to find a way to have these protests, these shows of unity between clubs, and have been able to do a little bit. But of course, obviously, the season will eventually conclude. We'll go into an off season, and who knows what next year will look like with everything. From what you've been able to see, and maybe in what you've heard from some of your teammates or other players, in terms of going forward and still helping fight these issues, are you pretty confident what the USL has been able to do that you guys can continue to be on top of this issue?
Yeah, I think fair play to the league, honestly, in their support of putting our message on a platform, allowing us to make a decision on what's right for all of us, and then just allowing us to do it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these next few months plays out and the next year play out. I think we are in a unique position to have a platform that is seen and heard more often than someone who's maybe not an athlete. And so I think that I'm confident that we'll continue to use that platform to hopefully bring equality and not just equality, but love and understanding and empathy. We're going to disagree. We're all going to disagree at some point, and that's just the reality of life. But that doesn't mean that we have to hate each other, and that doesn't mean that we can't change our minds or speak to each other about issues and come to a mutual understanding. Agree to disagree, but I still love you. I'm still here for you. Those are the type of things that I would love to see continue to happen, and I think they will with the leadership we have in place.
It's a great message. Totally agree with that. Moving on to some more tough news specifically about the club. I'm sure it doesn't get any easier whenever you hear about or talk about this being St. Louis FC's final year. But the positive spin on it, at least for me, when I think about what St. Louis FC has been able to achieve since their inception, has been growth. Not just them, but with the league itself, the USL, how much it has grown over these few years since St. Louis FC has joined. Again, from your perspective of over your tenure, what would you say you're the most proud of at the club in terms of its development and its growth?
Yeah, that's a great question. First thought that comes to my mind is the off the field things that we've been able to accomplish, the relationships we've been able to build with an incredible fan base, because it is different. I think that our club leadership was very intentional in the beginning, in the way that they approached our fans, approached the Hooligans and said, hey, we really want you to be an integral part of this. So the fact that I know 75 to 80% of those people's names in the corners, and I know their kids' names, and I know what they do, and everything just makes me super proud to have been able to play that small part in people's lives. So I think that's number one. And then number two, I think just the clubs and the fans' efforts and promoting just being good humans, just the charitable donations that the club and the fans have done. I'm sure you've seen all that the Hooligans have done over the past 5-6 years, and even more than that. As I said earlier, soccer is a game that is incredible, and I'll love till the day that I die. But being a good human and loving people well is what I believe we were put on this earth to do. And to be able to be given the platform to do that is really cool. And I hope something that's not overlooked by all the people as this club, goes away.
So the intimacy there of the club, I think that you talk about, is that they fostered and then that you guys embraced. I think that's a testament to you guys about embracing that and having those interactions with fans, because obviously, professional athletes can have a totally different feel to that. With all those interactions, and of course, you go back all over the place, on-field results, off-the-field accomplishments, again, just any little fan interactions. So what are some of your favorite moments from your career? I'd ask you specifically what your favorite goal would be, but I think I have an idea in mind of what that might be, but you can give a different answer too. But interactions with fans, maybe even funny stories that people don't know about, like a halftime speech from a coach or a player that really got you guys going and spurred you on to victory. just some things that you'd like to share about your time with the club.
Yeah. Man, it's been
I don't want to keep you here all day, though. I know
yeah.
hours of those
No,
stories,
it's
but
no, it's I love talking about it. And I've not been asked this, so I really appreciate the question and the thought behind it. I mean, I still remember where I was when I talked to Jeremy when I signed my very first contract. Um, I remember the first jersey reveal at Union Station. Um, Seeing those fans for the first time. You know, in college we had a pretty good following, pretty good fan base, but it's a lot of, you know, college kids that don't know soccer. They're just there to hang out, and being around a fan base that really knows and loves the game was huge. Um, I'll never forget going to Sporting in the Open Cup. That was a really cool moment for me professionally, lining up against the Matt Beasler, the Graham Zusis, the Dom Dwyers. I remember walking out from that game trying to be very, very serious and focused and whatever else. And the cannons went off and we started walking out and the fans were screaming about how we suck and whatever. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And then on top of that, just like we had like 300 something Looligans there that you could legit hear over the Sporting fans. And I thought that was incredible. That was just so cool. And then moving forward, yeah, I mean, Cincy was an incredible moment. That was really cool. Just the timing of it, almost the last kick of the game, and the elation from everyone in the stands was incredible. So that will probably be one of my favorite moments for sure. I'm trying to think of a funny moment or a memorable time. I feel like Patrick Doody would have to be involved in one of those funny moments. The guy is a clown. I love him.
what I was going to say is that you've been a part of a lot of firsts for the club, I would say, over the years. Just even think about the last few years, honestly. Victories over MLS opponents for the first time, longest winning streak in the club's history last season as well. Just this season alone, first road victory versus Louisville. In those types of moments, maybe it's tough to appreciate what you guys are doing at the time, but once you get off the field, I'm sure those were some of those best memories when you realize you've accomplished something that nobody else at the club has done before.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Something else that just came to me about that Cincinnati goal that probably not a lot of people know. As we were running up for that goal, and this has happened to some of my teammates before too, but you get this weird premonition sometimes, like that something amazing is about to happen. And for me, I felt like the Lord was telling me that I was going to score in that moment. And I looked at Kadeem as we were walking up and I said, I'm going to end it right here. Watch this. And then it happened. And I remember after just looking at Kadeem and we were both just like amazed, like, you called it, you knew it. So that was pretty cool, and something that I don't think a lot of people would know is just calling your shot before you do it.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of memories and stories to talk about at the time that they'd be appropriate. But of course, shifting focus towards this weekend, the season's not over, and
Yeah.
you're in the thick of a playoff battle. Of course, just like it was a couple weeks ago, facing off against Louisville with points at a premium right now at this point. But there's a little bit of a caveat to it right now, obviously, with the Kings Cup rivalry. You guys have never been able to win it before for the fans, and now with the win on Saturday, you guys would be able to clinch it. So, of course, you have those implications in mind, but you also have this thing that, again, you can be one of the first guys, part of the first teams to do this. Talk a little bit about how the rivalry has developed over the years up to this moment and what it would mean for you guys to bring home that Kings Cup.
Yeah, we've been, for being honest with ourselves, we've been the little brother of Louisville for a few years now, just in terms of results, in terms of, wins and losses. We've come close once to bringing home the Kings Cup, but other than that, it's been a rough go against them. So, that's definitely not lost on us. The fact that we have a chance to make history as a team as we're going out, and I think that definitely gives us a little extra motivation. So we are definitely looking not only to climb the table and make a playoff push here, but hopefully bring home our first little bit of hardware here as well.
Well, Sam, I want to get you out of here on this. Everybody who's come on here, this has been the last question because I think it's important. It's tough, obviously, with the circumstances in regards to the fans. Fans have been able to attend most of these matches since the restart. And, of course, other implications involved. And, of course, with the news about the club at the end of the year. Just want to ask again, you've talked a little bit about it, how much your relationship with the fans has meant to you over the few years. Just what is your guys' message right now or anything you want to say to the fans as you prepare for this weekend's game and going forward for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think, as we move forward, the passion, the dedication, everything that every fan has done for us these past few years is not lost on us, and will no doubt push us forward, hopefully to victory and to more wins to come. So I would say thank you first and foremost, but also, in the words of Sean Reynolds, we're not done yet. So we've got a lot more soccer to play, a lot more hopefully wins to go, and we're going to try and end this on the highest note that we can here. So I'm looking forward to doing it with my teammates, with the club that I love, and with the fans that I love.
Well, it's going to be a huge match, playoff implications, Kings Cup implications, and, of course, it's just a good old-fashioned rivalry game. At the end of the day, St. Louis FC versus Louisville City this weekend on Saturday on ESPN+. Sam, thank you once again for joining me today, and good luck this weekend.
You're the man. Thanks for having me.